Welcome to No Slouch No Ouch. My name is Alex.
My name is Mason.
Today, we're going to talk about postural control and ergonomics.
So now we're going to be talking about ergonomics, or kind of fitting the job to the person through your workspace. So ergonomics is all about fitting your desk to you instead of having you try to adapt to a desk or whatever your workstation would be. And some of the things this is helpful for is preventing injury. So you don't want to develop carpal tunnel from having a bad workspace. You can also reduce accidents from this, and you improve your work performance. It's been shown as well. And some of the things that we talked about, I believe in week 1, was avoiding constant posture. So changing it up. It's not necessarily a bad posture if you're moving in and out of it consistently throughout the day. But if you are in a static posture, like sitting still for too long, you're going to get some lumbar spine issues probably because of the flexion that's there. If you're in a bad position, it's going to lead to some changes there. Again, impaired breathing. If you're hunched over, you're not going to be able to expand your chest and take deep breaths. And you might have some pressure issues. I know I do from sitting all day. If you're sitting all day, you're going to have some pressure changes, like on your butt bones. Mm-hmm. It just hurts. It's not fun. You can also possibly get some disc compression. I don't know about that one for sure, because of if you're changing in and out of postures, you'll probably be fine. Mm-hmm. And you could get some blood pooling down in your ankles. So, yeah, cankles.
None of it's good.
That's not fun.
Yeah, nobody likes cankles.
No.
So.
Am I still going?
Yeah.
Nope.
You're done. All right. So when considering how to set up your workstation, if we're looking at somewhere where we're sitting, one of the main things we want to look at is keeping our feet flat on the floor. Now, it's okay to transition from crossing your legs and kind of moving around and having them in different places, but as far as the overall seated posture, it should be maintained around that height of chair. And you want the backs of your knees actually away from the edge of the chair as well. This generally means you're sitting a little bit more forward in the seat, and sometimes not always using that backrest, because we're trying to encourage some activation within the stomach muscles and to also get your chest up nice and upright so that you have a good view of your workstation.
But not like sitting like this.
Right.
Feet way up.
So, and this is why Mason has back pain when he's studying for exams. Forearms, as you can see, for the most part for us, are parallel to the floor. They're kind of resting on our table. And then you can even have a little bit of wrist elevation for setting up for something if you do a ton of typing. Now, if you don't do a ton of typing, that might not be the biggest issue, but just things to consider, because it helps put your muscles in just a little bit of a better alignment in order to utilize your workspace. Now, one of the other big things is and we don't have an example here, but wherever your monitor is, you should have a 10 to 15 degree viewing angle. And generally what this means is whatever the top of the screen is, that should be in line with about the top of your eye, and then you gaze within that 10 to 15 degrees to get your entire screen view. And that helps us to keep a nice upright posture with our neck versus slouching and crawling towards our screen if it's too low. And then armrest should also allow you to sit a lot closer to your workstation. And so for someone like me, I actually prefer a chair without them, because I can get right nice up and close to my workstation. And then I also don't lean to either side using the armrest when I'm being a little bit more lazy. Now, standing desks have become all the rage. And so there's some interesting things with that, and they're a little bit also interesting to get used to. But they are good for one main purpose, and that's you use all of your lower muscles. You use the muscles in your legs. And that does not mean that standing desks don't have their own static posture issues, but they need to be set up appropriately to set you up for success. So everything that we talked about with the screen and the elbow height is pretty much the same from the upper body up. Now with the standing desk, you're more looking at having things for your feet to play with or to move around, so that you aren't standing with your knees locked out and just driving all that weight through your heels. that's sure to catch some pain in either your legs or even can cause some pain in the low back. And some people get around this by having a stool or something nearby, which is another way of moving in and out and creating that motion through the day.
All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is kind of the things you see commonly around, like, you know, braces or supports or something along those lines. So the three I've seen commonly are lumbar rolls, Bosu ball, like seats, and then those braces for your chest, your upper back. And those are all good in their own way, but the thing is with lumbar supports, with the Bosu ball, and with that brace for your upper back, a lot of the times it's good for somebody who's in acute pain, but it's not something you want to stay with long term, because then you're teaching your body, I'm in pain, I'm just going to use this thing. I'm not going to rely on moving myself or training my muscles to adapt and overcome that pain. Mm-hmm. So I think it's okay if you want to use them for a short while, but I don't think you want to become dependent on those by any means.
Right, and basically what we're saying is that they're not a good substitute for not doing the exercises. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing the exercises and you're still having some issues either with your upper back or your lower back, and you notice that your body is feeling a little bit more tired, that's the time to implement some of these devices. However, if we're ignoring exercise and trying to move forward with them, that's when these devices, we rely on them too much and our body forgets how to use our muscles appropriately, and puts us at risk for a little bit more pain. So next up, one little thing we're going to touch on, even though we are generally focusing on kind of desk-bound or seated individuals, we're just going to touch briefly on lifting mechanics and things like that. As some of us definitely like lift throughout the day, whether it's us practicing our skills within class or
factory work if you're lifting a box,
right,
or putting something on a truck all day long,
right, or even going to pick up a box of printer paper or anything, you know, like all of these things you want to take into some consideration. The techniques that we're talking about are hopefully going to also help you with reducing pain with that. And one of them is to make sure that you're bending at your knees and not doing a full hip hinge. And we'll go over that as we're talking too. You want to bend with your knees. Keep the weight as close to the center of your body as you can. And though that's not always possible, the closer to your body that you can keep it, the less likely it is going to be something that impacts you in a painful
way. The way I remember that is just drag it up your shins. You want to be as close to your shins. You're picking something up from the floor. Don't actually drag it up your shins. That hurts.
Bloody shins aren't fun.
Right, but at least you're very, very close to your center of mass. So
right.
You're not torquing your back in a certain way.
Or if it's small enough, you actually put your feet on either side, mm-hmm. or close to, and then bring it up before, again, keeping it nice and close to your body. Yep. Depends on the object. It always gets a little bit tedious, with some factory work and things like that. Mm-hmm. But these things do make a big difference in your overall management of pain. And so they're just very good things to focus on as you move forward. Thank you again for joining us on this thrilling Monday. And we hope that you found this useful, and we'll see you in the next videos.